Well, good morning, guys. It's about 6 after 5 in the morning. It's Thursday. It's the 3rd of February, 2022. Not much new to report. Another day to go to the class. This time I'm bringing a monster book with me instead of using electronics versions. I think maybe something to appease the professor. Those damn things are heavy. See, anthologies. And I usually like to cram things in a few pages, maybe take a few chapters here and there, or an entire short story and shove it in there. But they're still heavy duty books for students to write on, highlight, and mutilate like crazy. Inherited from one student to another student, apparently. But that being said, still have to show the professor that I actually got the work material necessary to continue with class studies. And I'm taking a dial ride today. I normally should be taking a dial ride half the time because it saves me the trouble from killing myself humping this stuff or dragging it all the way over to Hummel Hall. Just spend about $1 one way and another buck another way, and then standard $3. So basically, I'm spending about $5 a day for the class. That's $10 a week, and it's basically $40 a month. Well, since I'm not going on a consistent basis, it's still alright anyway. I know I've talked about finances these days, but there have been some stories that I was able to talk to different professors about if I was comfortable with them or not, and I'd give them a letter or at least a video log to explain my position, and that's what I did last night. Because I wanted the professor to know and understand that situations like the ones we're facing right now, it's difficult for me to put things into perspective for professors to understand. These are what we're dealing with. We're dealing with metaphors that writers are producing. Even though some writers are producing them for other generations to read and understand and maybe appreciate, sometimes if I can just get past the damn visual imagery, it's just, well, I'm not going to understand the message. Well, when I was dealing with American literature and we were dealing with racism and discrimination, I talked to the professor about the book. I had to talk to the professor about the book to keep explaining my position that's point over here, and there had to be discussion. There had to be discussion. There had to be open mind in the situation over here, saying I protest. I'm not doing this book, and I don't know. No, I'm telling you how this book is making me feel at this point over here because it's making me question a hell of a lot of situations, and maybe that's the good thing right there because then I'm understanding a few things. The more I kept reading about Huckleberry Finn and about Jim, about those two trying to escape and have an adventure of themselves, but the racism thing really leaves me sick to my stomach. And then I'm hearing this week. Concerning about the Holocaust situation. It's Holocaust anniversary coming up, or already came up. People had to make comments concerning about the Holocaust. For decades, there has been groups of people, large and small, across the waters, have been either denying or just flat out lying their ass off concerning about it, while survivors and surviving children of the ones who've been through the Holocaust, are telling the stories and trying to make sure that the word still spreads out that the Holocaust was real and it affected everybody. Now, the thing is, Whoopi Goldberg on The View. This actress is very intelligent. She understands some of the issues that she keeps talking about. A lot of the issues, anyway. She does her homework. But the presentation at one time concerning with the Holocaust, apparently she misstepped on that one. Because she looked at the race situation as a color instead of affecting everybody. Race, I know affects everybody. But in the state of mind of the Aryan nation there, they only looked at the Jewish nation as a race. Anything else beyond that, they didn't see the blacks as a race. Or whites, whites is a different race. Their race, Aryan race. They're very pure. Whatever the kind of bullshit's going on through their heads. Skin colors didn't matter much. It didn't matter where the hell they were coming from. I mean, there were certain classifications that was going on. Hitler was nuts anyway. He was just flat out going to be exterminating the Jewish population. Anybody else was collateral damage. But the Jewish nation was indeed targeted. They were indeed targeted. So let's not get that. Let's not say they were not. They were targeted. And everybody else was just collateral damage. Meaning, even if you were a white and blonde, and somehow you were also Jewish. I don't know how that would happen. Probably if you dye your hair. They would have an issue with that one. They would have a connection issue at this point over here. I mean, if you were dark haired, they'd think maybe, okay, you're Jewish. There's a certain way you look. There's a certain mannerism. There is something about you that points you to this particular. You are this person here. You are this thing we have to hate. And I'm trying to understand Whoopi's point of view and the Jewish nations, the Jewish people. I had been to the Holocaust Museum out here in Los Angeles decades ago with my family. Moved. I wasn't moving. I was crying my eyeballs out. I saw the recent pictures of the 90s and 2000s. I mean, we got in there about 2000. A little after 2000. We saw the shit we had experienced throughout our decades. We had seen what the Jewish people had to endure. But we also saw how it was spread apart and spread forth in different countries left and right. We saw the elements of that. At that time, there was a few survivors of the concentration camps over there. I think one was still from Treblinka. There was a lot of them over there. Auschwitz, Dachau. I mean, I think I had about one each over there. Maybe about 3 or 4 of them from the different concentration camps to give them their different perspectives to the people. And they were rabbis. They were rabbis. And they also had dozens. But basically, it was an audio tour that you take. I mean, you're just sing and you're hearing this thing. You're seeing the presentations of what they had. And I saw the Rodney King riots. I had been through the Rodney King riots. I had seen it on the television. I'd heard the rumblings. I had to close the doors, lock the windows, everything. My family had to shut down like crazy. My brother was working in an oil refinery during the time. And it freaked him out when he saw what was it, 3 or 4 people doing law enforcement at the same time, military and sheriff's department, highway patrol, different PD, because where the refinery was, it was encompassing a lot of the jurisdictions of the law enforcement agencies out there. Just to get a smoke, he had talked about 5 or 6 cops plus security guards. Actually, the National Guard over there. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Nope, I'm not. And the first night we were watching, Ma and I were watching this damn thing. We were saying to Dave, please be careful. Please, God, be careful on this one. Take God with you. We're not kidding, David. Look at us. Dave says, I know. It's scaring the shit out of me, too. And we didn't even realize that even in our own neighborhood, we were having a little bit of rioters spreading throughout the San Fernando Valley during that time. In different sections, I noticed. If it was heavily into Latino, Black, Asian, those neighborhoods were getting hit more. Van Nuys, San Fernando, Pacoima, Arleta, even Sepulveda was getting nailed. Of course, it was called Sepulveda back then, not North Hills. So yeah, it was getting that rotten on the east side of the 405 freeway, but not the west side of the 405 freeway. That was the weirdest damn thing. The affluent would be living on the west side or the western edges or even within the western region, western side of the 405. Anything on anything on the eastern side was not of the money. Struggling people left and right, a lot of rentals left and right. Not many houses to be bought left and right. But you get on the 405, you get on the western 405s, and you better have money to rent this or buy that. Because that's what they had back then. I imagine they still do. So, getting back to the museum. My brother is walking as slow as my mother. And I'm heading into different areas. And I'm hitting different exhibits where you would interact with it. I saw more about the LA riots than I care to admit. I saw more about the LA riots than I cared to deal with. I saw more about the LA riots scaring the hell out of me than anything else. It was out of disgust at one particular group of people who may have been differently colored or different religious factor or whatever it is. I saw a complete disgust in my own damn humanity. I didn't see racial coloring or I didn't see the differences. I saw it was the hate mongering attacking innocents. It didn't matter what disguise it was. It was still ugly. I felt ugly and I felt sorry and I felt motivated, crying my eyeballs out in just absolute shame, horror. Everything else that was going inside of me at that point over there. There's one thing of watching a damn thing on the news when it happened. I saw the trial, what happened. I was trying to sympathize with the some of those people who were trying to protest about it. But when they started to attack an entire city, different portions of it, but yeah, but still the city, partially of the San Fernando Valley and then other places, it's like, come on, doesn't anybody get it anymore? They didn't want to get it. They didn't want to understand it. They didn't want to deal with it at all. They were there, period. They were there. And that was the hard thing about it. They were there with their anger. They were there with their frustration. They were there with their rage. They were there because old Whitey was going to deal with the black ones one way or another. And the trial was... I mean, there was a lot of things I was hearing from different people left and right that I just said. I was hearing it during those times. And not on the news, but out in the street. The characterizations that would come out to put some kind of spin on the damn thing that didn't make it look so damn bad. And all I could do was look at those images and get back over to what the hatred was all about. And all I could do was just stare at a rabbi with tears down my face. A young adult crying because he just saw the face of evil. And one of the exhibits has a mirror. Just a regular mirror. I had my face on it. A reminder that we ourselves are our own monsters. We ourselves are our own Rodney Kings. We can play the monster or we can play the victim at the same damn time. That realization in that museum, that realization the horrible thing about it wasn't haunting me enough. It wasn't reminding me enough. Not until I started reading more about Shelley Wollstonecraft's Promethean. The story about Frankenstein's monster. And after I read the entire thing and listened to it over and over again, there was a lot of aspects of it I was identifying. I tried this one. People in recovery know their darker side has a way of screwing around with people and with others. They know the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation. They also know about Frankenstein. Not many people actually talk about it. But for the ones who are illiterate, I mean, really into novels, into stories, the ones who are partially academia, the ones who threw everything else away and kept the bottle with the liquid in it until they got sobered up. Then they finally remembered the stories that they read were stories about them. Didn't exactly help me much, but down the road it did. It did. I know that I've heard from different stories and different sources that Even Whoopi Goldberg wasn't immune to it. We all have the different definitions in our heads and in our own experiences of how we've dealt with racism, either as a group of people, as a nation of people, or just skin color, or maybe all of it. We look at race at different things, different ways. For the Jewish people, it doesn't matter what the skin color was. It was the entire Jewish nation was the race that they had to worry about. To them, that was it. But the Holocaust, according to Whoopi's side, and yet it is a valid argument. It is a valid argument. Don't get me wrong on this one. Because different sections. Hell, screw that. Screw that. We ourselves try to sectionalize, put us through subdivisions, try to put us through something separate to keep us apart from one thing or another thing or another thing. And we're always after the usual line, are you for us or against us? Where's the definition of us? Where's the definition of them? Holocaust wasn't even a way of satisfying that. It was incorporating everything. For the Jewish people, it was for the entire Jewish nation, regardless if you're from the Middle East or from Europe or from America or from any other country that there was a community. Didn't matter. It was still open season. And I'm losing track. I'm losing track of what I wanted to say concerning about the situation because it's so damn hideous. It's so damn ugly, and my brain is tiring out. Not because of the topic and not because of what I'm talking about, because this issue is important. Differences. Differences in us, individual, collectively, doesn't matter. We're all very different. We all do things differently, say things differently, believe in different things. We are not the same. We are not robotic. We are not cookie cutter. We are individuals. And yet, some of us individuals do have group gatherings to celebrate our differences from other people. But other people don't like that. Scares them. So, they go to war. They go to party. They go down to harangue and harass people. They want to make their own egos and their own self-esteem worthwhile to belittle, to beleaguered, just to get their own rise going and say hell with them for any and all reasons. Doesn't matter. We're doing this because we can. Ha 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 ha. Oh God. I can't stand shit like that. I really can't stand it. I mean, hearing people talking about this damn crap. It's bad enough when I started listening to the R&B, currently what they call the R&B music these days. This is basically rap crap. Yeah, I did say that. Doesn't matter who's doing the damn thing. I still don't understand the bad poetry. And ripped off music. The earlier rap artists were ripping off the 80s left and right just to make their point across. That they're they're storytellers, bad rhymers, and they're ripping off people's music to get their point across, whatever the hell it was. I can't tell you how many 80s songs and 70s songs were mutilated that I can't listen to them anymore. Thanks a lot, Schmucks. It didn't matter who the hell was doing the damn thing. You mutilated a perfectly good song just to get your own bad limericks there. Oh well. But people buy them. People listen to them. And people have a party with them. Be my guest. Okay, time to get off of this damn thing before I really fall asleep. I got about less than an hour before my bus comes.